Hello everyone, Trophy Wine Hunter. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a review of a Burgundy wine. We're doing a review of the Franck Follin-Arbelet 2008 Romanee St. Vivant. So for those of you who have followed my channel, I have done a Burgundy basics video on the region of Romanee St. Vivant. Very interesting region. I did the video because it's kind of fairly small region. It doesn't produce very much wine. There's really only 10 landowners. The biggest, of course, is Domaine Romanee Conti. So I thought I would do this wine. This is not the first time I've drank this wine, but it's the first time that I got to review this wine. So Follin-Arbelet is owned by Franck Follin-Arbelet, and he bought an interest in a vineyard in 1990 and then took over management in 1993. His son Simon has joined him in 2017, and basically they are a localized farmer slash winemaker family in the area of Alos, Corton, and so they have really good vineyards. They have one village wine. They produce 4 premier crus and 4 Grand Cru wines. So quite a nice selection. Small producer. I'll have how many cases they produce. I think in total they maybe produce like 2,000 or 3,000 cases of all their wines. So I'll have how much of this wine was produced. I don't think very much, maybe like 500 cases at most. I'm trying to figure out where their vineyards are in Romanee St. Vivant. So Romanee St. Vivant has 10 owners. And to the best of my knowledge, they are not an owner. So what I can just, from my detective type work, they have about 0.5 hectares, and I believe they must be leasing the land from the Poissot family, who has 0.5 hectares on the south end of Romanee St. Vivant. So because they're quite small, they manually harvest everything. They destem their grapes, and then each plot is vinified in its own oak vats. Depending on the vintage, between 15 to 75% new oak barrels are used, and between 16 to 20 months. So this wine is the 2008 vintage, which was not a crazy great vintage in Burgundy, but you know, anytime you get to drink Romanee St. Vivant, it's a special occasion. So let's look at the cork. It's, I think, medium in terms of length. I've seen longer corks. Very simple. Romanee St. Vivant obviously is a Grand Cru vineyard site, 2008. Not much to it. Cork looks pretty good. A little bit of oxidation cuts, but not too bad for 2008 vintage. Very simple bottle. Not much there. They, of course, they're produced in Alos, Corton. Nothing on the back. And then here's the wine color. It does show a little bit, if you can see it on camera, it does have a little bit of brownish tinge to it, showing its age. So I think it is fully mature at this point. So let's get to the tasting of the wine. I'll let you know that I did have it last night at a restaurant called Boulevard. One thing I learned, which I never knew before, is that there's special decanters for Burgundy wine. They look like penguins, kind of. And so I didn't realize there was a special decanter for Burgundy wine. So that they used that in Boulevard. We decanted the wine and then had it over dinner, which was, you know, anywhere between 2 to 3 hours. I put it in the fridge last night, and now I'm retasting it today. So on the color, it does show signs of oxidation. It's still vibrant, but you can see some brownness in the wine. So this is 2008. It's almost, what, 15, 16 years old right now. So on the smell, you get a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of earthiness and saltiness, and some dark fruits. So the fruits are still there, but I would say this is more not fresh fruits, but more like very ripe or overripe fruits to the almost like dried dark fruit aromas. What comes to mind is cassis and maybe black currants. The tannins are soft on this wine. Good balance. It's, again, a lot of black currant, cassis, black fruit. If you've ever had the drink Ribena, that's what it tastes like. So, and a little bit of soy sauce in the mix here too. Minerality, it's very smooth, very easy to drink. It does demand food. I think it would go a little bit better with food. It's not really, to me, a sipping wine by itself. It's not one of these wines. Today is a very sunny day in Vancouver. I wouldn't just sit in a patio and sip RSV wine. But it is still, I think, mature. I think it is a good wine. And I don't think you need to wait any longer, although it probably could go another 3 years. But it's getting there. It's definitely at its peak. And I don't think you need to age it anymore. I've had this wine before. In fact, I had it, I think almost 3-4 years ago. And I think I had a bit higher rating of it. My rating today is 93 points. I think it is starting to get a little bit long. So it is time to drink it up. I don't think it's on the decline yet, but it's at the latter half of its plateau right now. Whereas when I drank it, I think 4 years ago, pre-COVID, it was, I thought, a little bit more vibrant and fresh. And at that time, I gave it 95 points. But still a very nice wine. Now, compared to the Romanee St. Vivant I drank in my previous video, which I'll put at the end of this video, from DRC, how does it compare? I think there are some basic characteristics, the dark fruit, the dark plum, the minerally elements of it. That's, to me, fairly characteristic Romanee St. Vivant, like black currant, cassis, black plums, that type of flavors, maybe a little bit of licorice, a little bit of spice. Those are quite, to me, RSV type flavors. It is weighty without being heavy. It's weighty in terms of the mouth. And the flavors are fairly concentrated. So I think that's quite similar. In terms of what's different and why do you pay more for a Romanee Conti, I think the vintage was better, 1997 compared to 2008. But I thought it had a little bit more lightness, a little bit more vibrancy, a little bit more complexity. So this wine is weighty, intense flavor, like the intense dark fruit flavors, and a little bit of oak and spiciness at the end, minerality, but they're very intense. The Romanee Conti wine was a little bit more elegant, a little bit more fresher, a little bit lighter, and a little bit more, I would say, ethereal or delicate. This is a little bit more on the rougher side, if you can call Romanee St. Vivant wines rough. So I think that's the difference. I definitely would prefer the Domaine Romanee Conti wine to this wine, but this is also an excellent wine. I don't think you get very many bad Romanee St. Vivant wines. And anytime I am able to get to drink a Romanee St. Vivant, I'm always very appreciative. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, happy drinking.